Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one! Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor.
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and he hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Thursday. Man, that always sounds good to say. That means you're deep into the week. And we are looking forward to another great show today. Let's see, JTP. Who all do we have? Of course, Chris Denari from the Pacers, Matt Taylor from the Colts.
And we'll have an appearance from Rhett Lewis, the new radio analyst for Indiana football.
Rhett Lewis, the new color analyst for Indiana, is joining us as well. Looking forward to that. What a great week. Had Jordan Holes on yesterday.
Hopefully Dustin is enjoying his week off with his bourbon and golf and whatever else he is taking part in and on the beach today.
Who?
Dustin, Shooty.
Who?
I guess he's already found irrelevance here with
exactly. I'm kidding. I'm shocked he hasn't sent a picture just to rub it in.
So yesterday he actually sent me, if you all remember last week, I don't remember if I said this during the break or on the air, but we were talking about bourbon and how the only bourbon I'd ever had was Elijah Craig. And he sent me a picture of him drinking it last night saying, if you don't like this, then I don't think you'll like any bourbon because it's some of the best bourbon that he's ever had.
Well, he was drinking Elijah Craig?
Yes, and that's the only kind that I'd had, which I didn't like.
Well, it's probably not a first timer is probably not going to drink it and go, oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's probably an acquired taste, I guess you would say.
I just said I would stick to my White Claws.
Boy, yeah, that you won't get made fun of for that.
Hey, I'll take being made fun of for the White Claws. It's fine.
Oh, no worries, Nancy. No worries. Lots of people hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline early on. I see that Jennifer, one of the listeners who went and saw Snoop Dogg, changed her name from Jennifer, just plain Jennifer, to Gritty Gin.
Gritty Gin, I see that.
Is that so? That's since she went to the Snoop Dogg concert. So now she's Gritty Gin. Yo, what up? The joke.
No,
Michael Music Man.
Looking at all these comments, we had started our own little pre-show. We were waiting to get started, and evidently I gained my street cred back, and I've lost it since admitting that I enjoy White Claws.
That took like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're like a roller coaster, up and down, baby.
We need more viewers my age so they understand my ridiculousness.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Always more listeners of any style. I'll always take them all. Hope everyone's having a great day. I had to break down. I've been fighting turning on the air conditioning. I'm like, I refuse. We've not had a true spring. I want my 2 weeks of 70-degree days where you leave the windows open the whole time, and I just didn't feel like we had that. And yesterday, after the show, sit here. Usually, I work in the studio, and sometimes I've not gotten up for like 6 hours afterwards, just of doing different things. But yesterday, a few hours after we're sitting here working, a bead of sweat dripped off my nose, and I'm like, that's it. I just got up, shut everything down, turned the air conditioning on, shut everything, and walked and left. It was 88 degrees in here. I finally that was enough. I couldn't take it.
So you willingly let your building get up to 88 degrees?
I didn't really realize that's how warm it was. It didn't feel that bad because I had the fans going. I'm like, I just was not going to do it, and I'm like, screw this. So yesterday I gave in, baby.
Wow. Anytime in this house it gets above 75, I can barely deal with that. I sweat way too easily, and it's not for me at all.
Yeah, well, that changed my tune real quick yesterday. It was horrible. I mean, I just shut it down and left even so it could cool down by the time I got home. But when I got home, it wasn't cool because the air wasn't working. So the only reason it got cool overnight was because it got cool outside.
Well, see, that's the problem. You let it get so hot that the air conditioner had to work so hard to get it to normal temperature that it completely went out, is what I'm guessing happened.
I don't know that it even works. We'll find out.
I guess we will.
I'm already getting warm. I need to go get my fan and bring it in to the studio. It's getting warm out there, but can't complain about warmth, right?
No.
That are waiting for those warm temperatures to get outside and do stuff. Looking forward to being able to do that, whether it's like Dustin Schutte playing golf. Speaking of golf and Jordan Hulls, don't forget the Never Lose Hoop golf outing coming up right here at the golf club at Eagle Point. June 23rd. That is a Thursday. It's your opportunity to play now with a member of the Indiana coaching staff. Well, not play with, but you know what I'm saying. In the event, who knows who all is going to be there, but there will be certain. There's going to be a lot of people playing in the event that you will have known and people showing up. It's going to be a fun day regardless. And most importantly, it all goes to Never Lose Hoop, which benefits area kids with cancer. 100% of the proceeds go there. So please form a team, or you can donate. You can sponsor a hole. Forrest is sponsoring a hole. Gritty Jen's got a team put together. I think Ryan is also, along with, I think it's Jenny, is already entered. So yeah, put a team together, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. That's from Wedding Crashers.
Another movie I have not seen, but I do know that movie.
How have you not seen that?
Trust me. It's like I said yesterday. You can. It's very hard.
Do you have an aversion to comedies or something?
No, I mean I love funny movies. I've not seen as many classics as most people. At least, evidently, I haven't.
Man, yeah, that's how in the world have you not watched that?
We should
Holy
just keep
smokes.
a tally anytime a reference is made that I don't understand. Mark
That
it
that's a lot of space, man. It's a lot of marking.
up.
That's a lot of Todd Yeagley, Indiana soccer coach. I texted me yesterday. I feel so fortunate. Said they had some new hats in, and he wanted to send one to me for covering Indiana soccer. I was shocked and honored at the same time, but I can't wait to get that hat from him. That's pretty cool, man. We've got to take a break. Coming up next. Who's up next, John? Matt Taylor joins us next. I can't wait to talk to old Matthew. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends down at the Courtroom Sports Grill, where this weekend they're sponsoring the Crawfest, the 4th annual Crawfest, 13th and 14th at the Harp Commons in downtown Bedford. Clayton Anderson, who will be with us tomorrow, will be headlining the event. So go to their Facebook page, Courtroom Sports Grill, and you can get all the information right there. Back with more and Matt Taylor on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting...
Matthew!
Yo!
What up, man?
Not much, bud. What are you doing?
Oh, just living life.
Living it up, buddy.
Just, they have a new color guy for Indiana football. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah. That's cool.
They also have a new pre-game, halftime, post-game host.
Yeah, I actually know John very well. John was a couple years younger than me at Ron Colley.
That's not been made official yet, but yeah. So lots of changes going on that broadcast team.
Yep. I like it though. It's good.
Definitely updating. I mean, do you know Rhett?
I have interviewed Rhett a couple of times. I don't know him well. I've interviewed him a couple of times at the Combine the last couple of years. Seems like a really good guy.
Who knows? One of these days you could be working with him.
That would be fun. Yeah, it just with my schedule now, it's just one of those things. It's just it's too tough to overlap that.
Yep. Man, my daughter's birthday is Saturday.
Oh, you gotta come strong now.
You got to head down to Mississippi, or is she already home?
She won't even be here. Going on a cruise.
How old is she?
19.
There you go. Wow.
Just finished her freshman year at Ole Miss.
How'd she end up at Ole Miss?
Wanted to go someplace that nobody else that she knew was going. But wanted to go to a really good school. She's in the honors college down at Ole Miss in their accounting school, which actually is on par with the Kelly school. I could not believe it when she told me. I was like, "There's no way." And I looked it up. I'm like, "Son of a bitch, she's right."
That's good. Good for her, man.
I was shocked.
Everybody's got to venture out and do their own thing.
Yeah, I of course tried to get her to go here, so be close to her.
Mm-hmm.
I think she wanted the exact opposite.
All right, here we go.
What high school did she go to?
Basketball.
Oh, you're good.
Madisonville, North Hopkins, down in Madisonville, Kentucky.
Gotcha.
Here we go.
Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by RE/MAX Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. It looking pretty nice out there. Brought to you by our good friends from RE/MAX Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference in you getting the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Please welcome Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's happening? What are we doing?
He's back. Well, let's see. Indiana has a new color analyst on their broadcast team. That was named. We talked in the break a little bit about that. Rhett Lewis, who will be with us tomorrow. You mentioned that you didn't know him, but you'd interviewed him a few times. Of course, through his work. Oh, he's on next today. I got my days screwed up. Man, he's on today. Great.
And Jim doesn't know what day it is. Shocker.
Hey, man, when running through all these days start to run together, without question. It seems like, especially when with the AAU going on, and you never seem to slow down. But looking forward to talking to him. I don't really. Well, part of it not remembering is because he uses Rhett Lewis. Lewis is his middle name. Kleinschmidt. Rhett Kleinschmidt was his name. You knew him when he played here at IU, but it's good to see. I mean, he's been off doing a lot of TV work, whatnot. The NFL, he's got a degree from IU in broadcasting and has been putting it to use.
Yeah, I mean, I know Rhett's work very well. Watch him, just being part of the NFL umbrella, if you will. Watch a lot of NFL Network, and he's always on there. He's got a podcast that I listen to, and he's good. He's really, really good. He was a good player, and he's a really, really good broadcaster. I think that's a great addition, to the booth there for Indiana football. He's going to complement Don Fisher very, very well. I mean, Don's the best, as we all know, but I think what Rhett will be able to do, among other things, he'll understand the broadcast. He'll understand, what Don's trying to do. He'll understand what he's trying to do, in the role that he brings, but he'll understand, when to get in, when to get out. He'll understand the mechanics of the broadcast because he does have that broadcast and television and radio background in him. So it'll be really good. And I've interviewed him a couple of times, met him a couple of times at the Combine here in Indianapolis the last couple of years. So really, really good guy. And I think that's a really good hire.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him, and I'm sure he's looking forward to working with Don Fisher, one of the absolute best in the business. And what an honor that has to be for him to get to work alongside Don. I mean, that would be just a dream come true for most broadcasters.
Yeah, I mean, plus he's a former player, right? So Don Fisher is calling his games, calling those touchdowns, calling those big catches, and then all of a sudden, you come full circle, and then you're in the booth with the same guy. I mean, that's it right there. That would be it for me as a former player if I put that IU uniform on.
That would be so cool. We're looking forward to hearing those broadcasts. Also, a new voice expected. It's not been made official yet, but John Herrick taking over for the retiring Joe Smith as the halftime, pregame, postgame host of sorts. I'm not familiar with John, but I know that you are as well.
Yeah, John, I know John well. John is a fellow, South Side Indianapolis guy, a couple years younger than I am. Actually went to the same high school, and he's done some really good stuff. He's currently at 93 WIBC in Indianapolis. He's in the newsroom there, but then he's also pursued his, sports career, doing a lot of stuff, some high school football, high school basketball around the area here in Indianapolis. So John's really good. So those are two really good additions for the IU property, if you will. I think John's going to do some basketball too, I heard. So good for IU basketball and football, and then I think Rhett will be great as the analyst for the football games.
Definitely IU fans hearing some new voices this year, so looking forward to that. What's new with you? We're getting closer and closer to draft day, I guess, D-Day, let's call it.
Well, we had the draft 2 weeks ago, and then tonight actually we got the schedule coming out, which is incredibly exciting. The NFL knows how to make every bit, every piece of news and turn it into a major marketing event. So that's what they're doing tonight. They've been hyping it up. So it's really it's almost like anticlimactic in a way, because we know who, every team knows who they're playing and they know where. They just don't know when in the order. But the NFL, to their credit, they turn every announcement into a major, news event. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Every team's schedule will be unveiled at 8:00 Eastern on the NFL Network. It's a big to-do. And every team will go all out with, the social media rollouts and, videos to complement the schedule. And, so it is what it is. But, and plus two, now we've got every entity like Sunday Night Football, Fox, CBS, ESPN, they're leaking games in accordance with the NFL to build up even more hype to the curtain going up in full later on tonight. So the last couple of weeks we've gotten the international games. We've got a few marquee games announced that are going to be on Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. So we'll find out the full slate coming up later on tonight.
Looking forward to that. It's funny, but I got to give them credit for being smart enough to come up with that, to create that. And it will become an event. I promise you, it will be something that people tune in for.
Oh, the ratings will be, I mean, it's, I'm not trying to be flippant here, but I mean, it's just reality. Like the NFL Network numbers tonight for the unveiling of the schedule will outdo most NBA playoff games tonight. I mean, that's just fact.
That is mind-boggling. That is absolutely mind-boggling. How is that even possible? Just to see a freaking schedule.
Well, that's football. I mean, everybody loves football because of either the on-field product or fantasy football or gambling now. Plus, I mean, people want to know where their destination games are, right? I mean, people want to know when the Colts are playing the Raiders in Las Vegas to book that trip, to make it a long weekend. I mean, that's what people do. And, like Thursday Night Football in October will, I mean, again, not trying to be, the high horse guy, but it's just fact. Like a Thursday night game in October that goes head to head with the World Series, like the Jaguars Titans game on Thursday Night Football between two mediocre teams and years past, that will outdo, Dodgers, Red Sox. It just will. That's how crazy football is right now.
It is. And baseball has lost and some of these other, but yeah, the strength of NFL is without question. It is the number one sport in America. I don't think that there's any question to that. It has certainly risen to the top, and they're very protective of that, and rightfully so, but smartly, extraordinarily protective of it. And it goes along though with making an event out of the schedule release. It's genius. I've got to say, it's genius. They're making wine out of every bit of water they can.
That's a good analogy right there. Yeah. And they never disappear. I've talked about this several times on this show. It's as soon as the playoffs are over, you got the Super Bowl, and then 10 days, 2 weeks later, here's the combine and the hype and the buildup for the upcoming draft, then free agency in March, and the draft in April, and the start of OTAs in May, and then the mini camp in June. You've got training camps in July, and then obviously August on, you've got actual preseason games and regular season games, and it just starts all over. So there's really never a time in the calendar where the NFL just completely drops off and disappears. And I think that's why they are the marketing machine that they've become, is because they've understood we can kind of go in peaks and valleys, but we're never just going to fall off a cliff in terms of the consciousness of sports fans in the calendar year.
How are things looking for the Colts now after the draft has played out? I know you have to wait till you get into camp and all of that, but you've added Matt Ryan. They've added some pieces. It looked like they're going into the fall in pretty good shape.
Yeah, Jim, I really think that the Colts are one of the more improved teams in the NFL from 2021 to 2022. And a big reason is because the Colts have addressed all of their major needs this offseason. They've done it boldly and in a big way. And they've been methodical. They've been patient. It wasn't just right out of the gate, the first 2 or 3 days of free agency, we're going to go spend all of our cap space and blow it on big name free agents just for the sake of bringing in, high top dollar, big name guys in here. No, it's the trade for Matt Ryan. It's the trade for Unique Ngakoue. It's Stephon Gilmore in free agency. It's the draft, Alec Pierce. It's Jelani Woods. It's Bernard Ryman. So the Colts, what they've done, I think, this offseason is they have addressed their needs in a big way at the top end of their roster. The last couple of years, the Colts have had a really good team, and the strength of their team has been the middle to the back end of their roster. And that's why they're so good in terms of depth. That's why they're so good in terms of special teams, and they're able to kind of weather those storms that they had at the end of last year with COVID. That Arizona game where who's going to play? How are they going to win this game? Well, guys stepped up because They have really good depth. But what they've done this offseason is they have addressed the top end of their roster, which is really, those are the guys that win you football games. Those are your game changers. Those are the guys that directly impact the game. Quarterback, shutdown corner, defensive end, left tackle, playmaking wide receiver, playmaking tight end. Those are the guys that are going to win you games. So I think for the most part, and again, I've said this on the show before, I think for the most part, most NFL teams, guys 12 to 53 on game day are pretty similar, but it's, are your top players better than your opposition's top players? Are your best guys better than the other team's best guys? And I think the Colts have added, again, top end talent at marquee positions that directly impact the game, and guys that are proven in those roles like Matt Ryan, Stephon Gilmore, and Unique Ngakoue.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be an exciting season, and I'm here for it, baby. Looking forward to it happening.
Me too. But the problem is we got all summer, so we still have to sit here and wait and talk about it, and get through the summer months before we get the helmet strapped on and we start progressing this storyline here.
Yep, it'll get here sooner than we thought, though, or think. So I don't want to wish it here too quickly, because it just got through of not having a spring, so I don't want to not have a summer too. So, but yeah, looking forward to it. We've got Rhett Lewis coming up next as well, so it's going to be a great football day here, man.
You got it, man. Be well. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate you so much, Matt Taylor, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. Talk to you soon, brother.
He's gone.
Rhett Lewis up next, the new color analyst for Indiana football. Join us here on Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends at Remax. Cheryl at IndiaHomePros.com. Back with Rhett Lewis right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
Oh, what the hell? I just lost it. Oh, there it is.
Good morning, Rhett.
Hey, gents, how we doing?
How are you, brother?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you joining us.
Surely.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited.
Do you know Matt?
Matt and I have talked a couple of times with Lara Overton, who was a classmate of mine at Indiana. So, yeah, I've done their podcast a few times.
Lara is actually I'm from Southern Indiana, down by New Albany, across from Louisville, but that's where Lara is from.
Yeah, she's a great one.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from New Orleans.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading that.
Yeah, New Orleans, and then I've kind of bounced around quite a bit until ended up here in Los Angeles in 2014.
Well, thank you for joining us from the West Coast, man.
You got it. I
guess it's about 6 a.m.
It's 6. Wow. Yes, it's 6:11 a.m. out there. Jesus.
It's all good. I got a 4 and a 3-year-old, so we're up pretty early generally.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. I really do. And looking forward to meeting you once you get in. When are you coming in? I know you said you're going to try to get in for some.
Fall camp will probably be the first shot at it. Trying to get down to Indy for Big Ten Media Days as well. But if not that, we'll get a couple of days at fall camp one way or another.
Well, Media Days back to Lucas Oil. It was awesome. They had it there last year for the first time. Great
actually
setup.
last year. I also do some work for SiriusXM, so I did our broadcast for that last year. So gonna try to get back again.
Good. Look forward to meeting you.
Yes, likewise.
All right, we'll be back from break in about 40 seconds.
You got it.
I'm going to go ahead and bring us back in.
be headlined by country superstar and Hoosier native Clayton Anderson. We are planning for this to be Bedford's biggest crawfest ever, with the biggest crawfish boil around, complete with a beer garden, stocked with local craft brews, live music Friday and Saturday, and fun for the entire family. Where else can you get all you can eat, listen to great music, enjoy it all on a beautiful Southern Indiana spring night? Let's kick summer off early. For more information, go to the Courtroom Sports Grill Facebook page.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Thursday here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, located right next door to Southern Stone on Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington. Offers an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff. Also provide a wide variety of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, coffee bar, spread, and pastries, all mouth-watering. Sounds great. Just as we bring in our next guest, Rhett Lewis, the new color analyst for Indiana football. Rhett, how are you, sir?
Jim, I am fantastic, man. I'm so excited to reconnect with IU football in this way, and to get this opportunity to stand next to the legend Don Fisher up in the booth and get to talk about a program, obviously that I hold near and dear to my heart. But thanks for having me.
Man, it's our pleasure. Thank you for taking time to join us, and especially since I know you're out on the West Coast at the moment, but that. There's no way that anybody can think of a new broadcaster now from now on. If you've watched Winning Time, the story about the Lakers and the bus, sure. Jerry Buss, it's great because I did not realize that Pat Riley started out as a Putz assistant broadcaster for them, and the Chick Hearn thing with holding up the fist to shut up, to tell him to just basically to be quiet, just. It cracks me up. And so everybody is, you look at Don Fisher and he is the Chick Hearn of college basketball. Not that he's telling people shut up. But,
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just funny. That scene has just turned that into something hilarious. Have you seen it? Have you seen that?
I haven't. I've heard people talk about it. I haven't seen it myself yet, but
you gotta watch it. But, looking forward to hearing a new voice, your former player. That's got to be exciting, especially in the last segment was talking with our good friend Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, and he was talking about having been a player and having Don Fisher call your name and to now be in the booth next to him. That's got to be – that sure brings it full circle, man.
It really does. It's actually a funny story. So my last year at IU was Terry Hepner's first year. And Terry had myself and Lance Bennett was a return man for us. And I was, in addition to being a receiver, I was our holder. So at his coach's show, one of the last weeks of the regular season, he had the specialists. So he had myself and Lance go with him to, at the time, I believe it was at Colorado Steakhouse, out there in Bloomington, and Don, obviously is the host of the coach's show, and so it was Don, it was me, Lance Bennett, and Coach Hep, and I remember Don, kind of asking us, all right, when you guys, you're seniors, when you wrap up, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, Don, I kind of want your job, and so. And we all kind of had a good laugh about that, but, here we are about, 17 years later, and I actually, I'm not taking Don's job, but I get to do it with him, which is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, it's amazing to get that opportunity. For one thing, it's not a spot that opens up very often. Secondly, but amazing. And Don has been there so long. What a professional. To me, of course, I'm a little biased, but and Hoosier fans are as well, I'm sure. But he's, if not the greatest, one of the absolute greatest of all time calling college or maybe any sport. I know that people say it's there's something about everything, his cadence, how he calls the game. He makes it thrilling to listen to.
I would 100% agree, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's the best in the business in my book, and so I feel like I'm sitting pretty here. It's going to be easy for me. I got a guy who's going into his 50th year, calling IU football games here, and I just get to stand next to him and just kind of provide the accent to what he does the work, and that's kind of the deal on radio play-by-play or, radio play-by-play, the play-by-play man, gets the lion's share of the responsibility there. And literally I'm there to provide a little color. And that's what I plan to do, but also hope to engage, IU football fans in other ways on social platforms and maybe with some other creative stuff we're doing in the digital space as well throughout the season.
And looking forward to all of that. What are any changes, not changes, but what are you going to be bringing to the booth that maybe has been different from before? It's a different aspect. You've been working, your experience is vast. I don't know if everyone knows what all you've been doing, but I mean, the NFL Network and all the things, you've done a ton between now and then.
Yeah, Jim, it's, Buck was fantastic. And obviously, Buck knew Indiana, Buck loved Indiana. And Buck and Don were quite a duo for 17 years. Right. And so there's no way I can be like, I got to go try to be Buck Sewer. I'm just going to try to be me. And the way that I see the game, I think is probably what it'll be a little different just because most people don't see it the exact same way, from start to finish and from minute 1 to minute 60. So, I'm going to call it like I see it. And, I have a love and a passion for IU football. So, I'm going to be excited, when we score and when we win and when things are going well. And, I'm going to tell you, what I feel like, we could be doing better when things aren't going well. And I think that's kind of part of it. But it's really exciting for me. I've been in the play-by-play role on TV for game broadcasts a number of times. And so it's really nice to flip over to the other side and kind of allow things to come to me in that way, as opposed to teeing it up, the way that Don will have to do now and has been doing. So I just think the way I see it, and I think I've got a really good relationship with Coach Allen, and I'm going to try to build that now with some of the new pieces to his coaching staff, which I think, one of the best attributes of Coach Allen has had since he's been in Indiana is he's hired damn good coaches, and coaches that are in demand and coaches that other programs end up wanting. But I think that's great, and I'm really excited about this 5 new assistants, I believe, if I'm correct there on the staff this year. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the new players, learning about them and getting to see them this summer and into fall camp. So there's a lot, that I'm trying to figure out about this team, and that I'm really excited for when we get into our first Friday.
And the Big Ten is, I'm not going to say it's changed a ton since you were here, but there's definitely been change.
Yes.
Ohio State still reigning supreme, but kind of has been doing it in a even a higher level than previous before. But IU rose up a couple years ago. They had a fantastic season, lots of expectations. Last year, unfortunately, didn't work out as they'd like to have seen that, but hopefully they are behind the scenes and revamping everything now and going to come back out and have a much better season this fall. We don't know much about what's going on with them. The quarterback, either Barzilak or Jack Tuttle. We don't know who it's going to be, and this and that. A lot of unknowns with this team this year, as opposed to last year. It was the opposite. It seemed like everyone knew everything, and that raised the expectations. And so this year they've really kind of keeping things kind of tamped down in order, I think, to keep expectations within reason. But a lot of questions. I don't from people like me, but I don't know much about what's going on right at the moment.
Well, and what I tell you, Jim, is that that's also to maintain competitive advantage. We're talking about a brand new offense with Walt Bell. We're talking about a brand new, although a rekindling of the defense that Tom Allen brought to IU when he was hired, by Kevin Wilson to be the DC, and then he continued when he was named the head coach, and Chad Wilt, as the defensive coordinator, will help organize things, but Tom's going to call the plays, and I think that's great. Tom is as good as there is, in this conference in terms of defensive minds. And so I'm excited to see him get his fingerprints back on this thing and get back hands-on with that defense, because that was something we could rely on, in recent years. And last year, it didn't have that ring to it. But there's more continuity on the defensive side of the ball, Jim, I'd say, than there is on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, I'm telling you now, on offense, outside of the quarterback position, which, it feels like to me it's probably between Connor Bazelak and Jack Tuttle. And we'll see as we get into fall camp and throughout the summer how that ends up shaking out. But I imagine we'll still see some Donovan McCulley one way or another, and moving forward in that way too. But Jalen Lucas, Sean Shivers at the running back spot, absolute spark plugs. I mean, you want to talk about game-changing juice and speed and electric playmaking ability. Those two guys, I mean, the running back room will be entirely different. The wide receiver room will be entirely different. So, there's so much turnover at the skill position. I think it's good. We need some juice. We need some guys who can take a 5-yard, a hitch and turn it into a 55-yard touchdown. We need guys that can take a quick screen, right off the snap and go bam, and we got it.
Well, we lost him. Hopefully we'll get him.
He got so excited that the connection just said we can't handle it right now.
Hopefully we'll get him back. I was just getting ready to say, yeah, that's something that we absolutely, there he is. He's right back. Rhett, yeah, I agree with you. Big plays, something Indiana just did not have last year at all. As I think back, I'm like, wow, just didn't happen. And from the either running back or the receiving position, and desperately you have to have that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's such a big piece of this. I'm sure that'll be a big piece of what Walt Bell's trying to do on offense now, and just trying to figure out ways to put players in position, to accentuate their strengths and their skill sets. Because, I mean, if you see some of the little clips from, on social media from spring ball, I mean, you'll see Sean Shivers. I mean, that dude is just sprinting down the field with nobody around him because he's got that kind of game-breaking ability. Same with Jalen Lucas, little true freshman from my hometown in New Orleans, man. I'm telling you, people are going to be introduced to that guy in a hurry in college football, and they're going to be like, whoa, where did this dude come from? Well, he came from Edna Carr High School in New Orleans. So you know it now first, Jim. And so I'm excited. I'm so excited to see this new look offense. And look, here's the one thing that'll change, IU's fortunes on offense. Just consistency at quarterback. Having the same guy line up, for 12 games, under center and staying healthy. Like that's the first biggest step in the right direction. And I feel like, the way that coach kind of tailor-made the spring a little bit differently to kind of keep guys a little bit more healthy is a big piece of that too.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The competitive advantage is something that they need, especially after last year. They don't have the resources that some of these other programs do. When you're going up against, I talk about it all the time, the Ohio States, Penn States, Michigans that have 100,000 seat stadiums. Well, they're making twice the money that programs like Indiana are, and they have twice the resources. So, yeah, whatever it takes to get every little bit of competitive advantage you have to use. Indiana had gotten to a point to where they were competitive with the Michigans and the Ohio States here in the last few years. And that was exciting to see. Can they get back to that and maintain that in this era of college football?
Yes. Yes, they can, and they can do it because Tom Allen is the best recruiter in Indiana football history. And his coaching staff has done an unbelievable job getting high-end talent here to Bloomington. And so we have that, but now we need to build it in the middle and the back end of the roster too. We have those top-end players here, and you're going to see them on Saturdays this fall. But when they get banged up, who's the next guy in? And do we have the depth? It's like you look at Ohio State, when Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson decided not to play, receiver for the Buckeyes in the Rose Bowl against Utah. Well, they had Jackson Smith and Jigba catch 320 yards worth of passes from C.J. Stroud. They had Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Buka and like other five. Like we need to continue to build the depth behind our high-end players, and so that if they are out for whatever reason, we don't drop off. And that's what coach, keeps building towards, and build is obviously his word for this season. And I think that's a big piece of what they've been doing on the recruiting trail. And it's getting those kind of recruits. But we can compete if we stay healthy. We can compete if we get back to playing, IU defense, circa 2020, circa 2019, which I think Coach Allen is going to do. And so, look, it's a tall task. I don't think anybody's shying away from the fact that, Ohio State's still the gold standard. I know they didn't win the conference last year. Michigan did, and Michigan will be back this year and competing for that too. But Ohio State is the watermark, and we got to keep building towards that. And, little by little, we're going to get there.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. It was a lot of fun watching that. But now, and you add to the aspect of NIL to this, the transfer portal as well, and how that has changed the game.
Yeah, it's I love it for the players for the most part. They deserve it. Everyone else is making money off of them. They should be able to make money off themselves as well. The thing where it starts to rub me the wrong way is, the inducements that you're hearing about where, like, hey, if you decide to enter the portal, I'm pretty sure we can guarantee you $3 million a year to come to our school. Like that sort of thing, that sort of luring of players away from one institution to another because of NIL dollars and the collectives and all this other stuff that you're hearing about in the NIL world, is that kind of rubs me the wrong way. But look, I mean, to say that that's not happening and that wasn't happening in other ways with other schools, we're probably being a little bit naive. And so, look, it's adapt or die. And so I know that's how Coach Allen feels and how Scott Dolson feels, and trying to get some of our great Indiana alums and friends of the program, to join join up, whether it's in a collective or whether it's just, creating opportunities for our players that are here. And because that's where it does good, right? That's where we provide opportunities for kids, to make some money, opportunities for them to make some money while also helping, in the community, which I think you've seen with the Hoosiers for Good collective, is, I think is really neat. It's just the problem is where you get, trying to use those NIL opportunities to get players into your school, whether it be from the portal or from high school. And I know that's not the way we do it here. And I'm pretty proud of that fact.
Yeah. And hopefully that does not come back to haunt them by not getting those guys. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what it is. And you're going to have the players that you're going to have, and that's who you're going to have to line up with. And that's who you have to go to work with. And Indiana is going to be, but I certainly like their chances, and I look forward to this being a better season than people think. But try not to build expectations up, because the media was swept up too. I mean, we thought last year was going to be incredible, and it just, for lots of things caused it for not to be that way. But I know that they're working extremely hard to turn that around for this season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Tom is tireless, and his staff. I mean, they're great workers, and this team plays hard. And I think that goes back to LEO and the way that these guys buy into this program that Coach Allen and this philosophy that he's established, and they love each other out there. And I think that goes a long way. And if you can sit there and look at the guy next to you and know that you can rely on him to do his job and you to do yours. And if everybody, from 1 to 120 on the roster does that, you're going to be in pretty good shape. And I have no doubt that this is going to be a better season. And it really comes down to health, and it comes down to consistency, because all the other pieces are in place, Jim.
One other question, an argument that for the Big Ten divisions, it's almost pointless the way the Big Ten has itself set up with the divisions, because the division winner, it doesn't matter who you play. It doesn't matter for what division, your record it all counts. So what's the point of having divisions?
Yeah, it's a great point. You're talking about, whether you're 5-0, whatever, in your 6-0 in your East games, and then you're 0-2 in your West games, but you still have more Big Ten. You still have more wins in the Big Ten than all the other East teams, and you're still good, or vice versa. You win all your crossover games against the West, and you lose a couple in the East, but you still have the best record in the East. You're still going. Like, yeah, it's a little odd the way that we've done it. It is better than the Legends and Leaders deal, that's for sure. Excited has been gone, but yeah, and you know what? I think it'd be good for parity. And I think it's clear that the East is the powerhouse of the conference, and so it'd be nice to shake things up a little bit and to see a little bit more parity within the conference. From 1 to 14. And look, is a good chance that Ohio State's still, for at least the next few years, the team to beat, and that's fine. But we're, like I said, with IU, we're still building towards that, reaching that watermark that they've established as the class of this conference, year in and year out. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see, to not have to run that gauntlet. Knowing you're going to have to see Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State, and Michigan State, each and every year, and to get some more opportunities to play different teams in the West, and to have Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State have to kind of make their move over to the other side of the conference as well, and just having everybody together, I think, makes a lot of sense.
Well, you certainly sound like you are up to date and up to speed on IU football already. Deep into it. How have you gotten so deep into it already with all you have going on, and you have the two little ones there?
Yeah, well, thank you, Jim. Yeah, I got a 4- and 3-year-old two future Hoosier wide receivers, class of 2040 and 2041. So we're excited about that. But I get to. I'm fortunate enough. I don't know if you're familiar with Mark Deal, great Hoosier.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
the
of course.
The real deal, baby.
Deal. Yes, the real deal. So Mark is one of the most valuable pieces of this university, and he does such a phenomenal job connecting with Hoosier alumni and I-men, that played football here at IU, and he keeps them close to the program. And together with Coach Allen, they've made such a welcoming and inviting environment for former players that it's easy to come back. And so when I go back to when I go to the combine in Indianapolis for NFL Network, I usually get to come down and catch the first spring practice. And so I get to see some of these, and they always welcome former players back to practice, which is so cool. And so I got to watch the first spring practice this year, got to see some of these new players for the first time, got to watch Connor Bazelak spin it around for the first time at quarterback. And same, with Jack and Donovan and Dexter and all the other guys competing to be that starting quarterback. But then, I also cover, IU and the other 13 Big Ten teams for SiriusXM Big Ten Radio. So I kind of follow it year round. And, look, I sit here, whether it's 9 a.m. game West Coast time or a noon game West Coast time during the fall, I'm playing it on the couch or I'm listening to Don on the radio, so it's appointment, watching or listening when it comes to IU football for me. And obviously now it's a whole different deal, but I am as connected as I could possibly be.
Well, man, we look forward to having you on much more frequently, and look forward to meeting you and getting you in here and getting it going. But great. As Jennifer's Gritty Jen says, Rhett has such positive energy. He does.
Yes. Let's
go,
man.
He's ready to go. We love it, Rhett. I can't thank you enough, man. Look so forward to meeting you, like I said, and and having you back on the show again.
Thanks so much, Jim. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for your work.
Thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it. Rhett Lewis with us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, located right next door to Southern Stone Restaurant in Patterson and Rogers, where you can get an unbelievable selection of wine. They've got a sommelier on staff there and much more. We're back with Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda is...
There we go. About 10 minutes or so in this segment before Chris Denari comes on.
Hello.
And if you want to take Chris Denari long, I'm not saying you have to, but you can if you want, because you're going to have to go a few extra minutes later than 10:30 because we started late.
Man, we were a guest light today.
We had 3. We usually have a co-host.
Oh, that's what it is. Damn, I hate that Dustin missed the chance to talk to him.
There'll probably be more, maybe.
Maybe not. Maybe I'll purposely not have him on Thursdays. Just kidding. Thursdays would be a good spot for him.
Yeah. Friday, tomorrow, we have every spot filled up.
I know. That'll go so
Got
fast.
a double dose of Alec. We've got, I guess we don't have the opening segment, but that's fine. We have Alec twice. We have Zach. We have DJ. And then we got Clayton Anderson.
How about that, baby?
You ever had him on before?
No, he's a country singer.
I know, but he's a local country singer, so I didn't know if he'd been on before.
No, I have not.
That's cool. I'll use that music to actually bring him in instead of the regular music, since we'll have a music artist on.
Yeah, you should. Hopefully we
He
don't have
won't
to pay for
copyright it. It'll be more. It'll be more of promoting him.
Well, he doesn't own it though, probably.
Well, if we'll make it a test run. If we get bumped for it, then we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Stick it on there, baby.
Yeah. He's got some decent songs.
Well, yeah, he'd have to, or kind of hard to be successful without having some decent songs.
Well, he hasn't had his big break or anything though. He's not like a big star.
Yeah,
he's a big local star.
Right, I agree.
All right, here we go.
If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in you getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@indyhomepros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Thursday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the great folks at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. You need that championship smile, and that's exactly what Dr. J will give to you. Make sure you give him a ring, reach out to him if you're down in the southern Indiana, Sellersburg area. They do excellent work. I'm a patient. I would know. Was looking at a deal about former Ohio State and Jacksonville Jaguars coach Urban Meyer. Josh Lambo has filed a lawsuit against the Jaguars after he said he was kicked by Urban Meyer last season. And I think is he the kicker? That's kind of funny. Lambo filed suit against the team on Tuesday in Duval County, Florida, seeking his salary from that season and damages for emotional distress. I guess I have to be careful here, but man, a football player is suing for emotional distress. Soft world we're becoming, I guess, is all I can say. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but he is a kicker. Yeah, that's funny. The kicker got kicked. Also called him a name, a dip something. So that's worth a lawsuit now. Crazy times, folks. Crazy times. NBA playoffs are going on. I'm sure not a lot of you are watching it, but they've been actually fun to watch. But then you watch a game. I don't get this. You pull up scores here. Didn't somebody win by like 35 last night? And didn't they just lose by like that amount to the same team in the same playoffs? Let's see, May 11th. What are the scores? Yeah, 130. Memphis beat Golden State 134-95. Seriously? 40-point loss by a playoff team. How in the hell is it possible for Golden State to lose by 40 points in a game, a playoff game? They're not that. You're telling me that Memphis is 40 points better than Golden State? Please. That's what I don't get about the NBA. How are these games all not relatively close? Sure, you have an outlier here and there, but 40 points is not an outlier. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Miami beat Philadelphia the day before, 120-85. That's a 35-point differential in the playoffs. Are you kidding me? 110-80 in that same day that Phoenix beat Dallas. 30-point difference. Golden State was able to beat Memphis barely. Maybe Memphis is that much better. No, here you go. Golden State, back on May 7th, 142, Memphis 112. Okay, so these same two teams in this very series have each won a game by more than 30 points. Playoff game. How the hell is that? Can that be exciting? I don't get that. I'm not, maybe it's because I don't watch enough NBA, but I cannot grasp that you can have that much of a swing between the same two teams. Oh, well, it is what it is. Just thought I'd throw that out there. John, you don't seem to have much to say about it.
Yeah, the NBA is kind of like you. It's very hard to be interested in unless there's a player in particular that I want to watch.
But I'm talking about this, but what I'm talking about specifically, the same two teams that are 35-point, 40-point swings.
Yeah, it's unwatchable. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. Like I said, there's a weird unappeal about the NBA. I don't get why people like it, but it seems like people in this part of the country, whether it be Indiana or Kentucky or places where it's more predominantly college basketball, we don't seem to understand the appeal of why someone want to watch one night a team win by 30 and then the next night lose by 30.
Yeah. It is what it is, but looking back, talking about the NCAA, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, and this is damning for the NCAA. You know, I've talked about the NCAA, as you know it, is crumbling. And I mean crumbling like Rome. Now you have a major conference commissioner in Jim Phillips of the ACC questioning college football's need for the NCAA. Wow. I'll just say this. I think it's time for us to look at alternative models for football. outside of maybe what we have right now, he said Wednesday. If we're ever going to do something, and I hear about the future of football and taking care of the sport of football, this is when you're going to do it. This is the time to do it, when you're reorganizing a structure like the NCAA. So massive major changes have to be coming.
I'm curious if you eliminate the NCAA from taking part in college football.
Well, I'm not saying eliminate. Well, but I don't. How much? Yeah.
Let's say you do, in the college football playoff, that organization becomes the arm for college football, Division I college football. With them being, I guess, a part of ESPN, you would have to get rid of that connection, right? If you're the governing body of NCAA, or I guess no longer NCAA, of college football, how do you separate yourself from that ESPN tie, which has ties to the SEC, so you don't have that conference bias?
Well,
or are we heading towards a reality where the SEC is the only conference in college football? I mean, that's obviously way out of left field, but it seems like every year that we're marching a step closer towards something like that.
He took over as commissioner in 2021, and he said he does not see an imminent break-off coming between the power conferences and the NCAA, but he drove home the point that football may have grown too big for the NCAA's britches. What are we doing with the sport of football? He continued. Does it need to be managed separately? Do you need to have a governance structure? Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. And when I say the sport of football, I'm really talking about the 10 FBS conferences and Notre Dame. Those are the conferences that have said we are committed to this type of resourcing. Some do it less, but a minimum of 85 scholarships, and then everybody else decides how much more they want to do, whether it's in their stadium or resources or salaries, all kinds of other things. So, yeah, it's just sports in general. Collegiate sports, massive changes coming. It's not going to stop. And again, it's all hitting at once because the NCAA. It's all because of the NCAA. The NCAA is crumbling because of the NCAA. College sports is in the position they're in because of the NCAA. The NCAA has mismanaged college sports. They've made a lot of money.
Is there a reality where, because the only saving grace the NCAA has is the way that they have March Madness. Is there a reality, if the NCAA really crumbles, where they don't even have the rights to that anymore?
Well, they don't necessarily have the rights to it. It's an invitational tournament. There's nothing stopping me from starting the
college basketball playoff.
Whatever, yes, and inviting every team, that the top 68 teams. And if they took that invitation and that started becoming the NIT used to be the national tournament back in the day. Before the NCAA championship, the NIT was looked at as the crowning jewel. And then that became the NCAA tournament and what we know today. Nothing to say that can't change. It can. No one ever thought that it would because there was no need to, because it seemed to be going so spectacularly. The tournament itself, yeah, it was. But it's all the other things that go along with it that were not being managed well at all by the NCAA and keeping their thumb on the athletes for all these years. It hasn't worked out for them. Now it has exploded. They were trying to save money. Oh, God, this is going to cost. Well, what's it costing them now? It has exploded and wrecked college sports as people know it. Some people are saying it's not wrecked. It's better. I hopefully that it calms down after a while, but the NCAA, just like trying to control NIL. Forget about it. freaking forget about that. There is no control of NIL now. No, they're trying to control. You have Hoosiers for Good, which Indiana knows what they're doing, and everything is on the precipice of using charitable causes. There's other NIL people out there that no, they're doing their own thing, and there's no control over them. There's not going to be either. Those people do it just to get close to the program, so they can say they're a part of the program. But they're trying to regulate boosters, but you're just not going to get it out of there. We got to take a break. The great Chris Denari joins us next from the Pacers. Don't forget about our good friends at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Dr. J, he'll give you that championship smile. Stop in and see him. Back with more and Chris Denari right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington. Hello, Mr. Chris.
Hey, what's up? I was having trouble for some reason. I access you guys through Chrome, which I don't normally use, and it was blocking me for whatever reason. Well, I think I had redone something to my computer, so I just had to re-access it.
Oh yeah, give it. Okay, I know what you're saying. Like it wasn't.
It had blocked my camera and my microphone. Now I've got some plugs in the back that I had made up. I had switched some stuff around, so I'm sure that's what did it.
Man, it's golf weather now, brother.
Well, I know. At least it's not as humid today, or it's not supposed to be as humid. Yesterday was it was humid. I still have not played, surprisingly.
Well, I might as well have not.
I'm going to play Saturday, so.
Our boy Dustin's playing golf again today.
Is that where he is? Yeah.
He's actually on vacation all this week, but I'm assuming golf is involved.
Yeah. I'll watch golf. That's the great thing about ESPN Plus. Like you can tune in at 10 and watch the early players.
Hey, Chris, is there any chance you could hop out and hop back in? You're kind of choppy.
Yeah. Let me redo it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Here we go. Let's see. Let's hear that. Let's hear you say something a little bit.
Does that sound any better?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay. It should be good. I'm off Wi-Fi now. I'm hooked into my fiber, into my Ethernet.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard great things about fiber internet. We don't have it yet, but
I finally got it. Yeah, I got it a while back, AT&T, and I really like it. But I hardwired my computer. Just to see, and it is faster on the Ethernet.
All right, here we go.
One Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Thursday. Jim Coyle here as always, joined by Chris Denari from the Indiana Pacers. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great.
How's the gardening going?
Good. Lawn looks good. I have not, as I was talking to you off air, have not played golf yet. I'm going to play Saturday. But the weather until this week, it really hasn't been that great. I'm one of those, Jim. Now, when you get to be my age, 61 years old, it's like golf needs to be 75 and sunny with no wind, right? So I look for the perfect day.
I was talking about the NBA playoffs this year and how some of these games I cannot grasp, like the Warriors Memphis series.
Yeah.
You've got Golden State winning 142-112, and then days later it's reverse with where was it?
Memphis was up 50. They were up 55 last night.
I cannot grasp how a playoff team that has beaten this team by 40 can be down by 55.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking about that. I go back to the 2017. I'm trying to think, 2017 or 2018 playoffs when the Pacers in the first round took LeBron James and the Cavaliers to 7 games. In Game 5, there should have been a goaltending call. Victor Oladipo drove. The game was tied, and they did not call goaltending. And then LeBron James hit a 3 at the buzzer to win. So the Cavs went up 3-2. And the Pacers came back in a Game 6 at then Bankers Life Fieldhouse and won by like 40. It was sort of like last night where their backs were to the wall. They had to win. Cleveland didn't necessarily have to win, just like last night, Golden State. And the Pacers put a whooping on LeBron James and the Cavs. And then they went back to Cleveland for Game 7. It was a heck of a game, but Cleveland ended up winning. It's one of those last night that I thought, without Ja Morant, here's the thing, Jim, Memphis has been very good even when they don't have Ja Morant. And when they're shooting the 3, they went big last night with Steven Adams joining Jaren Jackson Jr., and that's sort of been a problem for Golden State. So the game got out of hand, and then at some point, if you're Golden State, it's like, okay, we just got to move on to the next one. That's the beauty of a 7-game series. But that's been a little bit of an outlier series. You look at the other matchup last night, Milwaukee and Boston. That's been a tremendous series. Boston had a double-figure lead late, and Milwaukee rallied to win. It's odd to sometimes see playoff series like that where the scores are so out of whack, but it can happen. And the beauty about the playoffs is every game coaches make adjustments, and it's hard to predict one game to the next because the team that loses usually does something to make some changes to get ready for the next game. So, to see Golden State with the talent that they have with Curry and company down 55 last night, but Memphis is a young and talented team, and they just had nothing to lose last night, and that's how they played.
How about the Celtics? Looked like they were going to run away with it, and
well, it comes down to defense. Drew Holiday made 2 outstanding plays late, blocked the shot of Marcus Smart, then stripped him at the end when they were up 3. I just thought, and I just read a column on The Athletic, it just felt like Boston played differently when they got up 14. They had really moved the ball, and they went for isolation matchups in that fourth quarter with the lead, and they made a mistake. And once you allow a team to get back in and get some rhythm, even at home, it's hard to stop that. Giannis hit a big 3. I mean, he's not a 3-point shooter, but I think it was a 6-point game, and he cut that deficit in half. So, hats off to the defending champs. Now they get to go back home to Fiserv Forum with a chance to close it out. I have felt all along that it was probably going to be a rematch of last year's finals. I always felt that it would be Milwaukee and Phoenix again, and it very easily could be that in the NBA Finals next month.
Yeah, Phoenix and Dallas. That's the series I've watched a little bit. It's been kind of a fun series.
Yeah, a lot of talented players. I mean, when you look at Phoenix, their backcourt with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, Luka Doncic has had another outstanding year. They're a little bit different in the way that they play, even though Chris Paul can be a ball dominant point guard, he's not as ball dominant as Luka Doncic. And in fact, Jason Kidd has asked that some other players step up for the Mavericks because Doncic has put so much on his shoulders. But yeah, it's been fun to watch, and all these series, nothing's over yet. We're heading to at least a game 6, maybe a game 7 in some of these playoff series. And then the conference finals will start at the end of the month, and then the NBA finals in June. Really, we're on the countdown in the next 4 or 5 days for the Pacers. Next Tuesday will be a very big day because that's the draft lottery, and everybody in the lottery will find out where they select. Right now, the Pacers, if everything stayed as it is, they would have the number 5 pick, but they could be as low as 9, but they could be as high as 1. So all of that will be sorted out on Tuesday during the draft lottery right before one of the playoff games, and then the Pacers will know where they pick. I think, Jim, there are 6 or 7, maybe the top 6 players you really, really feel good about, and that would be Smith from Auburn, Banchero from Duke, Holmgren from Gonzaga, Jaden Ivey from Purdue, Keegan Murray from Iowa, and then the kid from Arizona. I think if you look at the top 6, Sharp maybe from Kentucky, though, all of us, we don't know a lot about him because we didn't see him play. But those are probably the players that are looked at as the top 7 in the draft. And the lottery will determine a lot next Tuesday.
Chet Holmgren reminds me, after having seen him play live out in Portland, he reminds me of Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki. And I'm like thinking, if I can get Chet Holmgren, I'm grabbing Chet Holmgren, because this is a 7-foot guy that handles the ball like a guard, that can bring the ball up the floor, that can shoot the 3 with ease. It was amazing to watch. And he's young.
Well,
My God.
Yeah, and you have to believe he's going to fill out into that body, right? Because you're right. He is.
Oh, absolutely. He's so young.
He almost looks odd, right? But you make a great point about Nowitzki. And what's funny is he was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks and then traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And you wonder if over the years, if Bucks management goes, boy, what did we do? And that's sort of where the draft is a crapshoot. I was talking to somebody the other day. Jim, remember Derek Williams from Arizona? I mean, He was so talented in college. He was the number 4 pick overall and really did nothing in the NBA. Then you have somebody like what we've watched, Jordan Poole from Michigan. He was taken in the late 20s, and he's probably going to be a breakout star in the NBA. So you just don't know. And that's why I'm glad that you and I are in position where we just sort of talk.
Yeah.
We don't have to be the ones that make the decision to take this player or that player.
Yeah, because trust me, there are how many people can still look back at certain GMs and say, why did they draft that guy? Who took Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan or whatever? Right. That lasts forever. That never goes away when you make that selection, and it's a bust. So yeah, it never goes away. But what's the highest pick the Pacers have ever had?
They've never had a number 1. They had Rick Smits was a top 5 pick, but the last time that they had a single digit pick was George McLeod, and that would have been in 1989. Yeah, that's the last time. So you're talking, a period of 30 plus years where you've not had a single digit pick. They are guaranteed a single digit pick. You just hope it's, top 5 and not top 9. I mean, the odds are they should fall in the top 5, but again, you just don't, you don't know until Tuesday night.
Who do you think is going to go in the top 4 if you had to really guess?
I would guess that everything that I've read, and you try to read all those mock drafts, and I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I would say it's Banchero, Holmgren, Smith, Ivy. I think those are pretty much what people have agreed upon as who they feel like will be in the top 4.
Yeah, it's Holmgren probably they probably won't have a shot for Chet Holmgren, but he's all. I mean, he could be a franchise changer for a team like the Pacers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's somebody that you're going to have for a number of years. I think that's one of the reasons, why the Pacers were fortunate when they opted to trade Domantas Sabonis. And it's hard to trade a two-time All-Star, right? I mean, but when they got Tyrese Halliburton, they looked at him as somebody they felt they could build a franchise around as from a point guard position, somebody that is going to be your leader for the next 5 to 7 years. And so what they hope to do through this draft is to add another player like that. I think they've got some nice pieces. Isaiah Jackson was taken in the first round out of Kentucky last year. Chris Duarte out of Oregon was the 13th pick. I think they have a lot of nice young players. And they've still got some veterans. We don't know what's going to happen with Malcolm Brogdon or Miles Turner. I'm of the opinion they want to keep Miles Turner because they see him as a valuable player going down the stretch. But what you're going to find in this draft is if you're in the top 4 or 5, you are going to add what you think you hope will be a generational player for your franchise. And that's what the Pacers hope they can accomplish through the lottery on Tuesday and then through the NBA draft in June.
And the fact that it's been this long since the Pacers had the opportunity to have a draft pick this impactful, this should be obviously the most impactful draft that they've had in 30 years, or it could be to the team and to this franchise.
Well, and what I'll tell you is, to me, what it says about the Pacers franchise is the longevity they've had, especially since the Simon family bought them in 1984. And while the Pacers have not won an NBA title, they have been to NBA finals. And if you rank them across the NBA in the last, I'm going to say since the mid-90s, so since about 95, let's go the last 30 years, they've probably made more conference finals appearances than most teams in the NBA. Remember that late 90 run when they got, they had Jordan in the way. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 or 3 times. They went to the NBA Finals in 2000. And then in the mid-2000s, they were in the conference finals a few times, got beat by Detroit when Detroit won their NBA title. And then back in 2013-14, they made 2 more trips to the Final Four of the conference finals. So I guess my point is the Pacers have done all of this without ever having a top 9 pick. Most teams are able to rebuild like we've seen in Memphis and Cleveland and all these teams with top 9 picks. Pacers have always had to do what they've had to do with picks in the teens or in the 20s. So this is a chance, as you said, to have a very important draft to take you into the next generation, if you will, of the Pacers, and this will be a key draft.
And going one now, what is their biggest need? Because that also plays obviously a big part in who you're going to select, because we're sitting here talking about Jaden Ivey or Chet Holmgren. Those are 2 very, very different players. So what is the biggest need for the Indiana Pacers?
Well, you can never have too many wings that are talented athletes. I mean, if you look across the NBA, as teams go smaller, they'll tend to have athletic wings. But you have somebody like Chet Holmgren, who is immensely talented and skilled at 6'11" or almost 7 foot. I'm intrigued by Banchero because I think the Pacers could really use somebody at the 4 position that has great size, that is skilled, and can also shoot the 3-point shot. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of those players. As you said, Jim, they are different in the way that they would be an asset to your team. You're right. Jaden Ivey would be much different than Chet Holmgren. But I just think you want to acquire and put as many good players, great players out on the floor as you can. And in this day and age, I don't think size matters. You see so many skilled players. I look at Toronto. Scotty Barnes was playing point guard this year at 6'9". At one point, they had OG Anunoby playing the 2 at 6'9". a skilled athlete who can shoot the three. So to me, it's all about getting skilled players, whether they're inside or outside, their ability to shoot the three, their ability to spread the floor. A lot of these coaches now, from a defensive standpoint, like to switch 1 through 5. So if you can get as many of those players as possible, I think that's what coaches and front offices are looking for.
Absolutely. Well, they're the ones that get paid the big bucks to do it, man.
Yeah, and we are fortunate that we just get to analyze and talk about it after the fact.
You can talk about all those bad mistakes, those bad picks that they made. Man, I hope you have a great rest of the week, great weekend. Okay. I hope you get to enjoy your golf on Saturday, man. Don't forget Jordan Hall's event coming up on June 24th. Hopefully we can get you down for that. Never Lose Hoop going on here at Eagle Point. So, but we'll keep you informed on that.
All right, sounds good. And again, next Thursday, we will have new news. The Pacers will know where they'll be drafting in the 2022 draft.
Looking forward to it. Chris Denari, can't thank you enough, man.
All right, thanks, Jim.
The great Chris Denari joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from Southern Stone, located on Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington. Comfort food with a Southern charm. More coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
See, now a segment like this that we have coming up would be a good example of when we could do like a guest, or how do you word this? Like a listener guest. Not for the whole segment, but maybe do a couple of them and give them a couple of minutes, but they would have to have some way of being the ones that are awarded it, so I could send the link out to them through DM.
Do you think I would ever trust a stranger on air? You are out.
Well, that's what's the difference between that and doing a phone call.
Well, but if you're in, as long as you have the dump button,
the mute button. Well, I mean, it's not a dump button, but I would have to just erase it after the fact.
Yeah.
But and we tell them, obviously they can hear us right now. If we do something like that, you cannot swear on the air. I mean, it's just a rule.
It's just a rule. What the hell?
It's not our rule. I mean, it's just
a rule.
It's the FCC.
It's just a rule. It's just a rule. You can't do it.
Did I just create a new movie quote?
It's just a rule. It's just a rule.
I mean, it is. It's not our rule. It's the FCC's
I'm just
rule.
laughing. I think it's hilarious how you said it. I can stand there saying when somebody breaks it, I can see you standing in front of them saying, "Well, you just can't. It's just a rule."
I wouldn't say it that rude to them unless they just blatantly said the F-bomb on the air.
I was just laughing at the whole part of it.
But yeah, for those of you who are listening to us, obviously on YouTube right now, we are talking about potentially. I mean, obviously, I know how we would do, but potentially doing segments like this where we don't have a guest at the end of the show to bring on a couple of listeners to, talk with us and have a good time. And we'll see if we can do that here in the future. We're not going to do it today because we need to talk about what is the best way to approach it. Because what I would do is, let's just say we did like a trivia question. And I don't know, Ross got it correct. If Ross was the first one to get the question correct, I would go to his Twitter account and send him the StreamYard link that we use for the regular guests. And then he'd be able to come on and say his piece for 5 minutes. I don't know. But we'll see if we can do that, especially now that we're heading into the summer and there's less news going on. I think it'd be more fun for you all to have a different way to interact with us than just the Andy Moore Honda hotline. So we'll see if we end up doing that. I'll try to get Jim on board with it.
Good luck.
I think you're missing out if we don't do it, but here we go.
Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you here on this Thursday, brought to you by our good friends at Cabello Italian Restaurant on the Square in Bloomington. Experience Italian heritage right there here in Bloomington. Also, all a part of the WOW Club. Make sure you go there and sign up. It's free. Start earning exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your mobile phone. Start earning discounts, free food, and even VIP invites to special events to these places. And knowing that Endeavor Hospitality is a sponsor for Indiana Athletics, that's where all the culture shows are going to be. So this is where you want to be. You can go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store and download it, the WOW Club app. So make sure you do that. Do it. For us, it helps us out tremendously. But you can go to places like BB's Marketplace and order online. Your online meats, steaks, big old fat. They have like 22 different sausages. It's crazy. But all the stuff you can get there. Yes, it's so weird yesterday. So Jordan Hulse is on with us yesterday, and it comes out, I knew the story, but I don't know if everyone always knows that the reason that Jordan Hulse was even in Bloomington and his dad was in Bloomington was because Jordan's grandfather was on Bob Knight's first staff at Indiana. He came from West Point to Bloomington. That's how the Hulse ended up here. But Jordan has never met Bob Knight. That just blew my mind. And so I'm well in the air. I'm like, well, I'll make that happen. And sent out a text to John Leskowski, who stays in constant touch with Coach, and said, oh, yeah, we're going to make that happen. And then, of course, yesterday evening or late in the afternoon, I'm downtown, and who did I run into? John Leskowski. There he was. So just funny. But yeah, John is going to make that happen for Jordan. But how wild is that? His grandfather was on his staff. Jordan played basketball at Indiana, but had never met Bob Knight. It had just not worked out from a timing aspect, although he said he had gotten that note from him that time. So that was pretty cool. But wow. Let's see. Any John Boy, you can put up any good comments if we've got those. You talk about wanting to talk to the peeps. How about
all these comments right now are back from when we were talking off the air about potentially doing a segment, bringing them on. They're talking about how they'll be on their best behavior and
I don't see that. Steve Prather says talking about the draft, don't take Ivy. He chokes in big games twice against Indiana and did not show up in the Sweet 16 games. Ivy's not a top 5 pick to me, man. I just don't see him. But I'm not a GM. What do I know? But Chet Holmgren, yeah, that's a top 5 pick, man. Ben Carroll, those guys are top 5. Ivy just does not do that for me. He's just. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he went to Purdue. I don't give a crap where he went. I just don't. He just doesn't. To me, you got to be a hell of a shooter if you're in that position. And he's not a great shooter. So I don't know. Who knows? They'll take who they want to take. It'll be interesting to see where the Pacers do end up, though. It would be cool to see him end up with that number 5 pick. And who they could get, man, Chet Holmgren. That's the guy I would take. He would be my number 1 pick. I would take Chet Holmgren all day after seeing him out in Portland, like I said, during the NCAA tournament. And something that has amazed me, his teammate Timmy is way down the draft board. I guess he's just a better college player than a pro player. I'm not certain that he's going to make it to the NBA, which is a little surprising. But I think that he's not much of a shooter. He's more of a close in player, but it'll be interesting to see. Tim mentioning that Kyle Guy's Pro-Am Summer League in Noblesville, Anthony Leal to play along with other NBA and college players from Indiana. That would be cool. Trevor Blewett, Lance Stevens, the Teague brothers playing in that. So if it's in Noblesville, is that at the Finch Creek? Is that going to be at the Finch Creek Center where they have a ton of the AAU events, which is going on this weekend, as a matter of fact. 2 AAU events that we'll be talking about tomorrow with Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com, and he joins us. You've got the Adidas May Classic this weekend and the Prep Hoops Havoc in the Heartland. So we'll find out who's where, but I think guys like Cook and Badunga, Burgess, Roberts, and Perry, those guys are all the Indiana elite guys will be at the Adidas May Classic, but we'll get you all filled out on that tomorrow with Alec. And then, of course, he'll Jenna asking anywhere on possible U of E coaches. No, and I was having this conversation yesterday. I'm shocked that Dane Fife has not been mentioned, but maybe he is quietly said no. But, I heard the Tom Crean thing. That's a joke. There's just no way. I'm sure maybe someone might have even reached out to him. I don't know, but I can't ever see that happening. Evansville is not. Yeah, it's not a place that could afford a Tom Crean. Number one, not that he needs the money, but that's a place where a guy like a Dane Fife, who was building up their head coaching resume, and I'm not saying Dane is just an example because he's someone that's available, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do because of the timing of this. Horrible. And why did this happen then? I'm curious to find out what's going on down there. I mean, I need to get was it Kyle Skoklin on from Evansville Courier and Press to see what's happening down there, man. Our peeps all of our listeners down in Evansville. What's going on down there, peeps? You guys listening on the Ref 97.7? What's happening with the Evansville program? It's just weird. The Mojo Sports Complex in Noblesville is where the Pro-Am series, I believe that is is that the Finch Creek? I think that is the Finch Creek location. Way out there. Boy, out there past Top Golf on the northeast side of Indianapolis. But there you go. Sounds like some fun action is going to be going on there, though. That's a lot of great names. So, and that is what it used to be like back in the day, but it would just be gyms with those kinds of guys playing in it. Now that these players are freer to do whatever they want, I wonder if you're going to start seeing players do things. Could a current college player, I'm developing this question as I sit here seriously live, I'm wondering, and I'll have to, obviously there may be an obvious answer to this that I'm missing, but I'm now wondering, depending upon what the scholarship language reads, would, or the amateur or collegiate rules read, but I'm wondering if a current college player could play on, let's say, a TBT team. And be paid or not be paid as part of NIL. Part of it, now it would probably interfere with their summer workouts, so that's a way to eliminate that. But I would say it would actually be possible, but probably not possible just because of their responsibilities to their own teams during summer. I mean, they're working out all summer. That's we just talked yesterday about Tay Davis not being able to play in the Indiana All-Star game because he has to go to Seton Hall that week, which is BS. You're not telling. I said this yesterday. You cannot tell me that his season is going to be impacted if he shows up a few days late to play in this All-Star game. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Coaches are moronic when it comes to that. And I'll tell any coach in the world that to his face. It's BS. But that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, that's that. Terry Morton to serve as Team USA under 18 women's assistant coach. Tim wants us to know as well. Yeah, congratulations to her as she has earned that. Indiana basketball should be looking pretty good next year. I'm telling you. I am telling you right now, they're going to start the season with both programs ranked. I don't think that's ever happened. Jeremy was just on, and I asked him if they had both teams had ever been ranked at the same time. And he said, yeah, he thought that they had. And I'm sure it might have happened. I'm going to have to go back and research that. But I'd be pretty certain they've never started the season ranked together. And I will guarantee, I can't imagine that doesn't happen next year. Of course, Indiana women is going to be ranked probably in the top 10. They may be better next year than they were this year. And I'm serious about that. They brought in some serious talent. They lost talent, but they brought in talent. Indiana men's team, they're definitely a top 25 team. I don't know that, and I think that people know that simply by the talent that's come in. They saw how they played at the end of the season. And a lot of that, of course, depends on Trace Jackson Davis. If he doesn't come back, that'll impact that. If he comes back, Indiana definitely will start the season ranked in the top 25. So you've got that to look forward to, which is nice. What a great day. Heck, oh no, we're
not done yet. We're not done yet today, folks.
That's right. Almost forgot. How much longer we got there, John Boy?
We've got about 9 or 10 minutes.
Oh, well, goodness gracious. I was worried about it wrapping up. Gee whiz. Absolutely not. So let's go. Heading up to, and the Indianapolis 500. Gee whiz. Is that this weekend?
No, that's Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yeah, I think it's next weekend, right? But everything's hitting all at once, man. You got the Indy 500 coming up now. We just finished the Derby. How about the Derby race, by the way?
Yesterday, all of the tests came back, so we're not going to have any scandals like last year with Bob Baffert and his horse and the drug tests. Rich Strike did, in fact, win the race fair and square. A lot of people were questioning that because, I mean, you're an 80-1 odds horse. And then after the fact, the horse is biting the pony that's supposed to be leading it to the winner's circle and calming it down. So a lot of people were creating these things in their head where they thought, well, maybe this horse was on something to make him, get him a little excited, get him ready to win this race. Well, it turns out that that's not the case, thankfully.
Yes, no more drama. You don't want no drama. So what a race, though. And watching that overhead shot of him winning that was incredible. Let's hope the Indianapolis 500, which comes up on May 29th, is just as exciting. I hope it's a gorgeous day, but we've got, a couple of weeks. So that's a couple of weeks away till that happens. So we got basketball in between, and hopefully it calms down a little bit. But yeah, there's basketball all summer. That's not going away anytime soon. So you don't have to worry about that. What are some of the other things that I know a lot of people out there going camping every weekend? You got people that are heading to the lake. You got people, our listeners. We got listeners that live up in the UP. We got listeners that live down in lakes down in Kentucky. Man, you guys are everywhere. So fortunate. Wish I was out there visiting. Tim says he lost a chance to win $8,000 because he couldn't get $100 bet to take on the Derby for Rich Strike on the line. So, Tim, are you telling me you were going to bet $100 on the 80-1 shot? Sounds like a fish story. I couldn't get my bet in, but I can promise you it did not include Rich Strike. So I was grateful I couldn't get mine in. However, I do wish, and from now on, I'm going to start taking the longest odds horses and just boxing them with the favorites.
What's funny about that, and I've been saying that myself included, but it's hard to realize, like really realize what just happened, because there's only been one other horse in the history of the Kentucky Derby that had higher odds than Rich Strike, and that was back in the year 1913. So if statistics are anything relevant, this isn't going to happen again for another 100 years.
Right. Well, you had Mind That Bird, who was what, 51?
Yeah, it wasn't ridiculous like this past one was, but yeah, it was pretty high.
And I wonder,
what was Giacomo?
Oh God, I don't remember. I didn't think he was.
I've had a lot of people been mentioning his name recently too, but I don't know what his odds were when he won.
Really? Was he I didn't realize he was so far down the list that was a big upset.
Maybe it was just the most recent. Well, no, Mind That Bird was pretty recent though, so I don't know.
Ross says boating's going to be very expensive this year. The marina fuel costs are crazy. Yeah, I can imagine. Gee whiz. Fuel costs is crazy already. Can you imagine buying it on the lake where they screw you? There you go. Jen just says you just got to do a lot of floating.
Yeah.
Floating's free, baby. Floating is free. Always. I wish I was in a body of water right now. It's getting warm already.
What are the odds we ever see Jim do a show live from the pool?
Oh, don't put that in. Those odds are low. Or low, baby, because I'll make that happen. I'll easily make that happen one day. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. Alec Lasley joining us on the show, get you up to date on what's going on this weekend and where we are in the recruiting process. That has slowed down basically to a stop because, the Dexter Dennis, all that. Notice you haven't heard a word out of Dexter Dennis. And with his other schools, basically that sounds like he's waiting on Indiana. I'm not saying that's the case, but who else has gone dead silent that's in the portal like that? I mean, you go in there and usually you make it happen or you don't. But was it 20 more days
until Trace Jackson Davis has to make his final decision?
So 3 more weeks and we can stop talking about that. And then we'll be talking about roster makeup because we'll know what it will be. And I'm sure Indiana fans will be happy, looking forward to that. What's going on in your sports weekend? What are you guys heading up? Little League is Little League hasn't started yet, so you don't have that. I miss my springs used to be filled with soccer weekends. That's over. Kylie's off to college, so don't get to do that anymore. Actually miss that. You don't realize at the time how much you will, but certainly do miss going out there and seeing that. But for those of you that still get to do it, enjoy it, man. It's an awesome opportunity, and it's something that doesn't come around twice with that individual. So enjoy every bit of it. But what's up for you this weekend, John Boyd?
Man, this weekend, I'm still thinking about tomorrow because tomorrow we've got a loaded lineup. We've got Alec Lasley coming on, like you mentioned. We've got Zach Osterman coming on as usual. Derek Jackson moving to tomorrow since we didn't see him today. And then, of course, Clayton Anderson. You said you're first musician to ever be on the show tomorrow, right?
That's true. That is true. Yep. He's headlining the event down at the Crawfest in Bedford tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, and Saturday night, though. He's performing Saturday night. But make sure you head down to the Crawfest. That is going on, put on by the Courtroom Sports Grill at the Commons there in downtown Harp Commons in downtown.
That's right. Chris Lewis, thanks for reminding us. Subscribe and like to our YouTube channel, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We have clips for you each and every day. I know you hear it on the outro if you listen on radio every single day as well. But hitting that like button does wonders for us. It shows this show and our clips to those who haven't seen the show and may be interested based on other things that they like. So please do so if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening and then you watch our videos later. Hit those like buttons. We really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And wherever you are, whether it's listening on the Ref 97.7, the Ref in Evansville, drive up 69, come up to the Crawfest in Bedford, or wherever you might be, whether it's Marengo or here in Bloomington, or in Indianapolis or down in southern Indiana by New Albany, Jeffersonville, that area. Come on up to the Crawfest. We're going to have some fun this weekend. It's been another great day. I cannot thank everybody enough, as always. Chris Denari, Matt Taylor, and, of course, Rhett Lewis, the new color analyst for Indiana football, John, the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. Thank you so much. Looking forward to doing this again tomorrow. Go out and have yourselves a great day. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.